geosciences and field of geography. And now I'm working as a climate finance specialist at the National Environmental Protection Agency. So I do my best to have something for you. But right now, as we mentioned, that I have to give 2 examples for adaptation projects that we have done. The first project that we have done was the and also in Orozco. And this is capacity building, especially for women. And as Mr. from United Nations Convention on Climate Change mentioned, that women work.
Good evening. I am Mohammad Mahmoud Hossain. I am working as a research officer at the Department of Environment under the Ministry of Environment Forest, Bangladesh. You know, Bangladesh is one of the most climate vulnerable countries in the world. To tackle climate change, Bangladesh has taken various initiatives. I would like to mention one thing, that is Bangladesh Climate Change Trust Fund. Bangladesh government has funded a own revenue fund, and that is called Bangladesh Climate Change Trust Fund. It was started during 2009 to 10, and Bangladesh government has allocated.
Good afternoon to all of you, Honorable Minister, and all the distinguished participants. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to Sri Lanka as the first speaker from Sri Lanka in this session. Actually, in Sri Lanka, from the adaptation perspective, we have done a lot of things. National climate change policy, national climate change adaptation strategy, and adaptation action plan. So, plus our intended nationally determined contributions. It is also covering the adaptation area. But as Mr. Rafiq mentioned at the beginning, I have to tell specifically some success stories regarding the adaptation which was done in Sri Lanka. Actually, Sri Lanka is a developing nation and it has a proud history about around 2,500 years. As a developing country, we have given our priority in adapting to climate change than mitigating greenhouse gases, but still we did not. Take mitigation out of our aspects, but we have given our priority to adaptation as it is the most important thing when it comes to developing country and as an island nation.
Planning, Monitoring and Administration Division. Honorable Minister and all the participants, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the APAN Secretariat and SACEP for inviting us to participate in this program, and there are so many successful examples in Nepal. I would like to share here local adaptation plan of action LAPA. Ministry of Environment Population supported the local level to develop LAPA, and also supporting technically and financially to the local level for implementing the LAPA. In our country, there is a mid and far west region in 14 districts. LAPA is implementing now. Reason behind this success, I would like to explain the support from the development partners is the very much essential things, and also the political commitment. I also would like to take name of stakeholders who are engaged in the planning, implementing and monitoring the LAPA. Also, effective communication and coordination are also the main essential things for the successful of the LAPA, for making success the LAPA. I also like to give another example. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rafiq. I just thought I'd bring you just a simple example from Sri Lanka, where bringing the voice of the business here. I've not heard it so far. We in Sri Lanka have mustered 65 plus members of private sector to a network which we call the Business and Biodiversity Platform. It's working with business on trying to integrate biodiversity into their core business as well as in their CSR initiatives. Now, as you know, Sri Lanka is very famous for its tea, and we have some 222,000 hectares in tea across the island. We also have about 32.5 million kilograms of tea which is produced for a year. So obviously our tea plantations are very important to the country, and we have to sort of see how this important commodity is taken care of with the climate change that is affecting the country in so many adverse ways. We've seen droughts, floods, everything that this year has been full of all of that. So basically what we have done is some members of our platform who are from the plantation sector have gathered themselves up into a network, and there are 22 regional plantation companies. We have about 6 of them in this platform, and they are working together with INI in looking at the water issues around their estates. Now this is not taking one estate and doing it there. They're doing it regionally. They're looking at all the problems that they have and working together. And I think that is really something that this forum is trying to look at, working together in partnership with state, with international non-governmental organizations, which are basically the technology providers. And I think this is a fantastic example of how they are using traditional knowledge as well. I think the previous speaker from Sri Lanka told you about the cascading systems, where our ancient kings dammed the waterways, and so basically they are retaining water by damming water when there's excess water, and also looking at restoration measures by planting indigenous plants, like certain species of our trees are they take up more water and some don't, so therefore they have sort of mustered a sort of a scientific and a knowledge-based system where they are trying to work together and share their example. So this is what I'm bringing to this forum, and I think it is something that we should be quite proud of, because it is the private sector taking the lead, and it is not induced by any state agency. It is just them doing it because they want to do it, and it affects their product obviously. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Parisa. First of all, sir, thanks are on behalf of the government of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan extend to the government of Sri Lanka, SACEP, for inviting us to this event. So, sir, with regard to Pakistan, I may say that on the face of 2010 floods, unprecedented floods in Pakistan, the government of Pakistan established its full-fledged Ministry of Climate Change. The Ministry of Climate Change formulated and launched its first ever climate change policy in 2010, followed by the framework for implementation of the laid policy. The framework contains is focused, the policy and the framework is focused on the adaptation and mitigation measures. With regard to some disaster management, sir, the National Disaster Management Authority is in place, the Provincial Disaster Management Authorities are in place. With regard to some examples, sir, the government is currently working on some energy mix in relation to project to protect water and its supply and maximizing its benefits for the people of Pakistan. Small and large scale hydropower projects are being built to achieve the objectives of NCCP, the National Climate Change Policy, and its framework. To name some, the 356 small dams, small hydropower projects are only in KPK are being built. Large dams at Basha and Dasu are being built. The Tarbera, which is the second largest earth-filled dam in Pakistan, in the world, its extension are being considered, the fourth extension and the fifth extension, which will provide a very clean and cheap energy for the people of Pakistan. Solar power park is established in Punjab. Wind energy projects along with Sindh and Balochistan ports are in pipeline. Environment-friendly thermal power plants are being built. With regard to forestry cover is mainly concentrated in KPK, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province and the northern areas of Pakistan. The concerned department of the government has considered change in plantation patterns on the face of this climatic changes, and those are being done now instead of January, from February to late May and April each year, and July to late August and September. There are many more examples, but it's a time constraint. Sorry.
Thank you. I really appreciate the briefs.
One of the projects that I want to share today is the project that was implemented under NAPA 1, which is called the Reduced Risk of Glacial Lake Outburst Flood through Artificial Lowering of the Lake through NAPA 1 project. As you all know that Bhutan is a mountainous country. It ranges from 200 meters to about 6,000 to 7,000 meters. So we do have many lakes. According to the study conducted, there are about 2,600 lakes, but 25 lakes are found to be potentially dangerous. So we've had glacial lake outburst flood in the past in 1994, where there was a major disaster. People were killed, paddy fields were washed away, there were infrastructure losses were there. So in 2002, when there was a study conducted, it was found that there was one lake called Thotharumi Lake, which could impose danger to the people living downstream. And it was also found out that just next to the lake there was another lake called Rapstring, and if this two lakes merges together, then it could cost double the impact of what we've already had in the past. So basically, this project was identified as one of the priority projects to be implemented in the the first NAPA project. So since this lake is very much at a very high altitude, despite in a very harsh condition, remote location, very high altitude and inclement weather, the people could work only for 3 months in a year. So that left them with it was just few months for them to work because of the weather condition up there. So, and then also we could not use any machineries because it could have impact on the Moraine Dam.
again I repeat, we try to be as politically savvy as possible by using what the government wants as an entry point to talk about what we want to talk about. So in Kerala, we talk about health as a way of talking about adaptation, but in Odisha that is hit by cyclones, we're going to talk about early warning systems as a way of mainstreaming adaptation.
Okay.
I invite you to please honor the audience with your words of wisdom. Thank you.
I think today I'm happy to participate with you. These are all brother countries of the Asian region. We had a workshop a few days back, or the last week also, where the SACEP Under Secretary General Shamshed Akhtar visited Sri Lanka, and where the UN organized the workshop on sustainable development. And I have been appointed as a SACEP chairman also for the 2016 also. And here, with these leading delegates, which I see, Mr. Mustaq Khurshid had been so many times phoning me and asking, you have to come somehow. Last Tuesday, I think we had the workshop also, where the Under Secretary General Shamshed Akhtar, Madam, she came. The same evening, I left Colombo and I returned last night from the jungles of Sri Lanka. This event, and tomorrow President is also coming to address, be a message at 8:30 a.m. and we talk of sustainability, sustainable sectors, how to achieve these goals also. I am the Minister for Sustainable, and we are bringing and acting the Parliament in countries most gazetted, and the Minister is taken notes as the Minister for Sustainable. But in Sri Lanka, the act prepared, Cabinet had approved, and legal draft and everything done, completed. We have sent the copies to the provincial councils, provincial governments for their approval. So it is a delay bit or maybe 2-3 weeks. I hope that the chief ministers, because the president also asked me, when he visited last on the 5th of this month, a one by one event we were moving now fast. Because I visited 22 South Africa for the sightings also. And we invited all the countries' support of sightings, 183 countries. And I'm happy to say, sightings but for what you are talking of. We, the human beings, we are talking of ourselves. I saw only the panel discussion few are talking the nature, the animals, the trees, the survival of human beings. If we think that we can alone survive, as the film showed, then we are people like blind people. Very soon the human beings of the two legs will perish in this planet. CITES is meant for the rights of the trees, the rights of the water, rights of the marines, rights of the animals, environment, global. United Nations, one side is for the human being, human rights. Very soon you will see all of us have to participate of the nature, rights of the nature. Without the rights, without the assistance of this, which I mentioned, no human being can survive. If we think that we can survive without them, that is our aim. I said, High Commissioner, for the Maldives, their survival, everything, all of us. We have seen the tragic events in Afghanistan, India, Pakistan, Maldives, Bangladesh, Bhutan is some other country which I admire, which we can learn a lot also. Live with the nature. What is sustainability? I'm not going to mention all your names, delegates who are here. Sustainability is that we are trying to go back again to the past. We are trying to go back to the past. So-called developed countries did this damage. And we also are part of that process. No country, no person can escape from that. If you live according to your own religion, some are trying to change the religions to the tune of their living standards. No, all prophets. Lord Buddha, Hinduism, you take Catholicism, or whatever the religion, or even Islam. When I went to the sacred city of Katharagama, where what we call Skanda, on the annual, we have the festival we call Perahara. And I was invited as a chair for the ceremony. I saw in a mosque, there is a mosque also there. The mosque, what was written there surprised me. What it said, those who do evil things, those who do bad things, those who do wrong money using, earning money wrong way, we don't want your money. The mosque in that it was written. So that's a fact. I'm going to tell you, the Emperor Asoka, I see the India delegates are here, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, all brother countries, Pakistan, 300 Lord Buddha's preachings. I am taking that message to wherever I go. What did Lord Buddha preach? His followers, Lord Buddhas. Emperor Asoka, who united India through blood bath. He may have killed maybe few millions to unite India. But his daughter and son left. Midu, Arahat, his daughter, Sangamita, not to do this evil thing. Ultimately, did he achieve his happiness? No. He was sad, seeing the blood bath and everything frustrated, living alone in the palace. One day he saw in the balcony young priest, 7 years old, walking very calmly, begging for the ball, asking each house, not begging, their dana which was given to the young Buddhism way of that young priest. Emperor Asoka, seeing this, told his minister to invite that young boy. The emperor didn't know who he was. He came, emperor was standing. He asked to invited him to sit. The young priest sat on the throne. All were shocked. A version of Emperor Asoka. All thought that emperor will get angry. No, he asked, who are you? I am the follower of Buddha. And what did he preach? He preached. He visited Lord Buddha Sri Lanka 3 times. After his death in 300 BC, which I am going to read to you. Today, we have taken this as a lesson. Emperor Asoka invited his son, Arahat, Midu and Sangamita. Arahat Midu visited Sri Lanka. The king at that time, Devanapizza, the friend of Asoka, he said, go and preach to my friend, king of Sri Lanka. and the king was about to kill a deer. The top of the rock of famous sacred Anuradhapura. He called Tisara. The king was angry, and who is calling my name? To see yellow robe, people, priests standing. King went to them and asked, who are you? I am the son of...
Funding my project after this one. If you begin to serve what their interest is, they are much more likely to continue supporting what you do than you just taking the money and wanting to implement a project. Also, I think there is a huge role that the market plays in any transaction to be successful, and climate change adaptation is no exception. We have to think really in terms of the market. There have to be buyers and sellers if the market has to operate, because it is only the market which can ensure the continuity of anything. I have ideas, somebody is willing to buy ideas and pay for them. I have an adaptation technology, somebody is willing to buy and pay for it. I will continue to produce more technology and because it's making money for me. So we have to think of the adaptation not as an ethical thing, and because it is a nice and communities are vulnerable, it will only go certain distance. But if you can really think of the transformative strategies of the marketplace, where you create market where people can buy and sell adaptation, that will work very well as well. I think in terms of the actors, I also raised this question in the plenary, and now that I have been in Sri Lanka for a while, I sincerely believe that this whole awareness, we listened to the president of Sri Lanka a few days ago, and his message, the key message was, awareness raising is important. Communities, people need to know what the issue is. They have to have the ability, they need to know what the technologies and options are, and it's only that then they can act and implement. Now for this, and this morning also in the plenary we heard there is a huge need for information sharing. How does this take place? From a global level to the individual level. There is a huge network of organizations, and I think which is currently being disregarded is the sub-regional organizations like SARC or Mali Declaration. And the irony is that these organizations exist, the mandate exists, the government is paying fee to keep them, and they are under-resourced, and we are thinking of creating new organizations through which we will channel more information and put them across. And to me, this is the most unwisest thing a wise man or woman can ever do. You work with what you have, enable these structures, they are there, they're really desperate to do things, and they have the mandate to do it. I will conclude, I can go on, but I think this is enough from me. Once again, I'm profoundly thankful to all of you for being so cooperative and patient, and for my very rough moderation. I didn't have any other option here. And Minister, I want to thank you profoundly. This is my third time again in 2 weeks in Sri Lanka. I've seen you. I've seldom met a minister who is so humble.